This morning, sharing those stunning new images on the far side of the moon. And for more, we're joined by astrophysicist Dr. Brad Tucker. Brad, I mean, we've all been marvelling at these photos this morning. Yeah, thumbs up indeed. They are incredible. So just, if we flash some up on the screen, just take us through what we're looking at here and how amazing it is to see them in such crisp 4K.
Yeah, look, it is. That's the thing, is it's the resolution here that you're getting, getting Earthrise, getting, this is the solar eclipse that they saw, where because they're far away enough from the moon blocked most of the sun. The photos of getting both the moon and Earth in phase are always spectacular. People don't realize, right? We have the phases of the moon. If you get far away enough from the Earth, you can actually get the phases of the Earth as well. And that's a really special treat. Seeing as we were just talking about the corona, the light from the sun bleeding around the moon during the eclipse, allowing us to actually measure the edges of the sun, like the sun's photosphere, the atmosphere, and actually measure the areas where eventually space weather, which impacts Earth, is created. So a lot of the measurements aren't just pretty photos, but it's measuring the composition and areas of the moon, but also even things that impact here on Earth.
It's just mind-blowing. Everything about this mission is just extraordinary, isn't it? Would you say so far the goals of the mission have been achieved?
I think so, right? I mean, you really have the two main ones. Make sure the capsule and rocket performs exactly as planned, putting it through a lot of the workout, and including the trajectory, the flyby, and all that sort of thing. And it has. And then the data that they're getting from this flyby. NASA's generating over like 100 gigabytes of data already during this flyby. And this is being downloaded constantly now thanks to new technology that they're using, including stuff here in Australia, in order to get all of this high-resolution imaging down immediately. I mean, the fact that we had, over 1 million people watching a HD fly around of these 4 astronauts around the moon, that's just cool.
Yeah, it's been quite a thing to watch in real time, and it feels like we're on part of the trip as well. It's been amazing. The crew are now, of course, on their way back to Earth. They've slingshot around the moon. How long will it take them to get them home now?
Yeah, so they have a few more days. They really are quite down off the emotional hill of yesterday. So today's going to be, I think, quite boring for them, to be honest. So there's a little bit of stuff to do the next couple of days. The big day is going to be Saturday morning our time. That's when they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. And that's the riskiest part of the mission, with a lot of things re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, especially that they're testing a new angle. So that's going to be happening. They'll be splashing down just around 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Time Saturday morning. They'll start re-entering about an hour or so before that. And that's kind of not only the culmination of the mission, but as I said, also the riskiest part still.
How long and how hard will it be for them to readjust to life on Earth when they do splash back down?
That's a great question, because it's not just physically that they've changed. They've been spending years preparing for this mission, and this mission's been delayed already. So, they thought they were going to launch in March, and they thought they were going to launch in February. They're supposed to launch, a year ago in some cases. So they've been massively delayed and, stop-started. This has been their career, their life, their project. So there's stuff to do after they get down. There's a lot of studying still to happen and debriefing, but there will be a little bit of emotional high that they're coming down that they have to regroup for. But, the reason these people are selected is because they have that mentality to do that. They have that ability to stick into it and help the next batch of astronauts for the next mission and prepare for what they're required to do in the future, which may be going back to the moon, but also this time walking and working on the moon.
Well, if I get sea legs off the Manly Ferry after a short trip, I don't know how they're going to feel coming off Artemis 2, but it's great to have you inside, Brad. Thank you so much for your time. The Artemis 2 crew have this morning shared incredible photos of the far side of the moon as they journey back home from their historic lunar flyby. For more, we're joined by former NASA astronaut Dr. Linda Godwin. Linda, great to see you. These images are just spectacular, aren't they? What do you feel like when you see the beautiful shots of us from the other side of the moon?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on and asking that question. I mean, I am in awe of it. I can't get enough of looking at it, and I followed as much of this mission as I can. And they've just been a great crew, and I think they've tried to communicate back to all of us how much we're all in this together back here on this planet. So it's just been a great mission, and those photos are awesome.
Tell us, though, as a former NASA astronaut yourself, what was it like when they made history by going further than anybody else in space flight yesterday, and then the lunar flyby.
You know, they couldn't have picked a better crew. And so, but I enjoyed in all the coverage, you know, as I was watching it, I was also just imagining all the work, because I know this, behind the scenes that made it happen, and watching the team in mission control and the science team, and just thinking, no, they're checking out a spacecraft for the first time with humans in it, and we've learned so much from this mission. And I was in high school and college when we sent humans to the moon the last time, so it is way past time that we're doing this again.
It's pretty exciting. And the years they've had to train just to do this one mission. How significant
it's been a
is the
while.
data then, Linda, that the astronauts are collecting during this flyby, and how much will it help for the next few trips?
Well, first of all, just even looking at the Orion, their integrity, as they named it, capsule itself, they're learning, you know, how does it operate with humans inside? Because when it flew before, it didn't have any people in it. So they're checking out all the subsystems. They're just seeing how it handles that load of 4 people. They're seeing how their physiology is changing. They're taking some data and keeping some samples like saliva. So it's a checkout on the humans. It's a checkout on the vehicle. And then their human eye observations on the backside of the moon. We have had photography of it, but it wasn't illuminated in the same way for Apollo. So these, in some places, the first time we've had human eyes on it, and they can just, and I've heard them talk about this, you know, they can make comparisons and connect things together and make comments that you don't even know to tell the cameras to look for. So the human perspective there has been really important.
Well, they're on their way home. It's probably going to be a long trip home after what they've just seen. They're going to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. It's still a dangerous time. They've still got a lot to concentrate on. What makes that little moment of re-entering the atmosphere still challenging for the Artemis crew?
Okay, you know, we launched them on this trajectory with a lot of velocity and energy. Okay, and then as they get farther from Earth, that tails off and they slow down, and then the moon speeds them up a little bit as they go around it. But it's really when they're coming back to Earth, you know, they're picking up then a lot of that speed because Earth's gravity is pulling them in. We have to slow them down. They have to slow down. And the way we do that is by friction in the atmosphere. And we do this from low Earth orbit too when crews return. But these guys have a lot more energy to bleed off. And so they have to get that angle just right. The heat shield has to work really well, you know, and because those are very dangerous temperatures during reentry.
Really pull on the handbrake too. That's the advice I've got
yeah,
too.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Linda Godwin,
the brake could be smoking if you had something like that.
Exactly. Dr. Linda Godwin, great to have your insight this morning. Thank you so much.
We can bring you incredible pictures this morning of the dark side of the moon thanks to NASA's Artemis 2 crew. The astronauts snapping some of these incredible shots on their historic lunar flyby yesterday, including a total solar eclipse when Earth was completely blocked by the moon. Reed, Christina, Victor and Jeremy are now preparing to leave the lunar sphere and re-enter Earth's gravitational pull. And as they did, they caught up with fellow astronauts on the other side of space at the International Space Station.
We're part of you right now, and it is making us so excited. We feel like you're here with us, and this is really just making our entire week.
We have been waiting for this like you can't imagine.
The crew will splash down in the Pacific Ocean later this week, completing their record-breaking 10-day journey.